The Aviva Premiership returned after a 2-week European break with round 10. It's the first of 3 weekends of Premiership action around the festive period as we enter the halfway stage of the season. The Friday night game took place in damp conditions as Sale Sharks hosted London Irish at the AJ Bell. The Sharks have been buoyed by the good form of Danny Cipriani this season, and the English fly half was again instrumental, his kick through finding Tom Brady with the help of a fortuitous bounce. And just 10 minutes later it was Sale's forward pack who did the damage. After some sustained pressure on the left, flanker David Seymour broke loose to score. The treacherous weather was making it tough work for Cipriani from the kicking tee, but he did manage to notch a second half penalty to give Sale a 15-point advantage. Not long into the second half, Irish lost Chris Hallalafia to the sin bin after his part in this tackle, and the game looked beyond the exiles. They did manage to register a score through an Ian Humphreys penalty, but it wasn't enough for the Irish, who are now without a win in the Premiership since round 2, while the Sharks sat in 6th place overnight. Saracens confirmed their place on the top of the table for Christmas with a 6-try mauling of Leicester Tigers. The visitors had their preparations for this encounter hampered by transfer speculation surrounding fly-half Tony Flood, and they were rocked early on by Sarries. Captain Steve Borthwick supplied Alex Good, who then found Jack Wilson, and the winger made no mistake with the finish. Owen Farrell's kicking kept Sarries in command, but Tigers began to claw their way back. On 36 minutes, Graham Kitchener profited as Farrell saw his kick charge down, scoring under the posts. But Kitchener's work was quickly undone moments later, his late tackle on Farrell seeing him sent to the bin. And Sarries' one-man advantage gave them the opportunity to push forward, with Chris Ashton dotting down to make it 18-10 at the break. The hosts were rampant in the second half, scoring 4 tries. The first from England international Billy Vunipola after some positive attacking play. There was concern for Mark McCall when Farrell took a huge hit and left the field on a stretcher, but despite this setback, Sarries secured their emphatic bonus point victory, rounding off the afternoon with Ashton's second try of the game. London Wasps came into their clash with Saints on the back of 3 straight wins in all competitions. And despite taking an early 3-0 lead, they were pegged back by Northampton after 11 minutes. Christian Day barrelling over after a forceful Saints maul. The sides traded penalty kicks in the first half. This effort from Andy Good nudging the hosts back in front, but kicks either side of half-time from Stephen Myler kept the visitors in command. With 10 minutes to play, England flanker Tom Wood found himself in the sin bin, leaving Wasps a path back into the match. And although Elliot Daly missed the subsequent penalty, replacement Joe Carlisle did find the post from the kicking tee with only 3 minutes left, giving Wasps a 1-point lead. But Saints have showed great resolve all season, and it was in evidence again here as the Northampton forwards forced the penalty through a collapsed scrum. The kick was well within Myler's range, and with the final action of the game he slotted the winning 3 points for Northampton, much to the relief and joy of Jim Mallender. Third faced 4th as Bath welcomed Quins to the Rec, hoping to consolidate their impressive top 4 berth. November's Player of the Month, George Ford, took only a minute before getting his name on the score sheet. Ford had praised his forwards for allowing him the platform to kick points, and they gave him another opportunity minutes later when Chris Robshaw was penalised. And Ford made no mistake with the resulting penalty. Ford's opposite number, Nick Evans, kicked Quinn's only points in the match before the half-hour mark. But the visitors did themselves no favours when Charlie Walker was sent to the sin bin for this tip tackle on Anthony Watson. The game sparked to life at the start of the second half as Jonathan Joseph weaved his way through the Quins' defence to score the game's only try. A sensational effort from the Bath centre to delight the Rec. Quins did their best to heave their way back into the match and might have scored just before final whistle, but were disappointed by the referee. Newcastle Falcons have struggled with their execution in the final third this season, and they were unable to find the killer touch against the Chiefs at Sandy Park. Exeter took charge in the first half courtesy of 3 Gareth Steenson penalties despite the blustery conditions. Phil Godman did score for the visitors with the last kick of the half, but it was to be the Falcons' only points of the game. Hayden Thomas grabbed the game's only try 10 minutes after the restart, finding a gap in the Newcastle backline before powering through. Steenson added the extras and Chiefs held firm, not allowing Falcons a passage back into the game. Visitors were unable to find a bonus point score, with Exeter now 5th in the league. Gloucester gave their fans an early Christmas gift with their first Premiership win since September, but it was far from a convincing victory in a match delayed due to a broken crossbar. Once the sticks had been reset, the game got underway and it was the Cherry and Whites who found their way into the lead. Billy Twelvetrees had been called in to fill Freddie Burns' number 10 jersey, and the England man showed composure to put Gloucester 3 points up. Worcester struck back minutes later. When Matt Besic went off his feet, the referee awarded the penalty, which was dispatched by Ignacio Mieres. The Argentine was in confident mood, but couldn't quite find the post with this long-range effort. Twelvetrees notched his second penalty of the game before half-time to give the hosts a narrow lead at the break. The sides traded penalties after the restart, before Richard de Carpentier made Worcester's task even harder by getting himself booked for a high tackle on Dan Robson. Twelvetrees grabbed his 4th penalty from the resultant kick, taking Gloucester in what proved to be an unassailable lead. There was a late wobble from Gloucester, who had winger Johnny May sent to the bin with 4 minutes to play, but the hosts had done enough for the win. So, with Christmas upon us, it's a familiar look to the Premiership summit. Saracens remain in top position but have Saints breathing down their necks. Quins' failure to take a losing bonus point from the Wreck keeps Bath cemented in 3rd, whilst Leicester's woes continue, the Tigers languishing in 6th spot. Sale in 7th after home victory against Irish, and Gloucester finally get back to winning ways, but are still well off the pace in 9th. Worcester's 10th defeat in 10 leaves them rock bottom, though they do have the consolation of a losing bonus point from the defeat at Kingsholm.